Good morning, LCC kids. Happy Easter. Maybe you got something special today. Maybe that's to come. But one thing that's always fun about Resurrection Sunday, obviously we're celebrating the fact that Jesus is alive. He is risen. He is with us. And we get to do a lot of other fun and exciting things too. Like maybe you like to do an Easter egg hunt. I'll tell you a little bit about the Easter egg hunts I would do growing up in a moment. But let's have our own version of an Easter egg hunt. Here's how it's going to go down. You've got 10 seconds to stare at the picture and count as many hidden Easter eggs as you can find. And then when the 10 seconds are up, we'll do a reveal and you can check your answers. So let's do the first one together. All right. Can you see Easter eggs hiding out in various places? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. There were 10 eggs. Did you get all 10? Check them out. Look, see, you got eggs hiding in bubbles on the turtle's arm, all over the place. All right, so now you know what to do. Let's do the next one. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That went by so fast. How many eggs? Another 10 eggs. Did you find all 10 that time? Well, you get another go at it. Let's go on the hunt. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just realizing it might be distracting to hear me counting down while you're counting up in your head as you count the Easter eggs. But that's all part of the challenge. Did you find all 12 eggs that round? How's about this? Next one, I'll count silently in my head while you try to find them on your own. All right. And time's up. Did you find 19 eggs? And that's tough. 19 in 10 seconds. You got to go really fast. All right, I'll give you 15 seconds on the final one for this round, and go. And done. Only 9 eggs. But you had 15 seconds. So I hope you found all 9. You had that one hanging out right there in that diagram of the atom as the nucleus at the center of it all. And what we're talking about today is at the center of everything that we believe as Christians, which is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And something I would always do on Easter in the afternoon, we would head to my grandparents' house. We would do Easter lunch there. I think my kids are going to get to go to their grandparents' house this Easter and do the same thing. And after everybody's eaten and done all that fun stuff, then we would do an Easter egg hunt. And my grandmother would hide out eggs in her garden and in different places and under plants and in pottery and all that stuff. And we would try to find it, and probably made her a little nervous that we were like running around in her garden, stepping on plants and stuff like that. But, she was a good sport with it. But, you could tell the story of Easter as a story of going on a hunt in a garden. In fact, there are 3 gardens in the Bible that are really important, and Easter has everything to do with them. So, garden number 1, this one you might already have in mind. Way back in the beginning, when God created the world, He created a garden, a paradise, a wonderful place where he placed human beings, Adam and Eve, and he put them in the garden and he said, you get to have all this. I mean, Easter candy, forget about it. You get to have all of this delicious food right at your fingertips. Just walk over to a tree, pluck it off, eat it, enjoy it. You get to have the presence of God. There was no sin. There was no sickness. There was no death. Everything was at peace. Everything was right the way that it was supposed to be. Nobody ever fought. Could you imagine life like that? I bet it's hard to even go through an Easter egg hunt without fighting with your brother or your sister. What if that never happened? Nobody ever pushing, shoving, trying to be first. That's peace and beauty. It's the world God made. But in that garden, there was one tree that God said, trust me, trust my goodness, my leading of you, my telling you what's right and what's wrong. And you can have anything here, but don't eat of the fruit of that tree. And you know the story. You know how Adam and Eve, they were deceived to not trust and obey God, to think God didn't care about them or want what's best for them or have good things, and that if they grabbed and stole and took for themselves and tried to do things their way and how they wanted that it would be good. But it just brought every sad thing into the world. It brought fighting into the world. It brought people getting sick into the world. And it brought death into the world. Or now, you know what happened after that? You just hear over and over again in the Bible, and he died, and she died, and they died. People come to an end of life, and it ends. And there's death. And death's not supposed to be a part of this wonderful creation God made, but there it was, and it was so sad. Because sin always brings sadness. That's garden number 1. Let's talk about garden number 2. You know that Jesus came. We've been tracing out as we move through the Bible how everything's leading up to him and his arrival. Well, he comes and he is like a second Adam, a new man. He does everything right that we did wrong. He always obeys God. He treats people with kindness and with love and compassion. And he's come to take our place. And he goes into a garden called Gethsemane. Gethsemane is the name. It means this olive press where they would push on olives to make olive oil, and under the weight of large stones and grinding, then you would get this precious olive oil that would come out. And in that garden, Jesus is pressed. Jesus is underweight. He starts to feel the weight and the pressure of our sin. And he looks to his Father and he says, if there's any other way for your people to be saved, without me bearing their sin and dying in their place, then could I have that way instead? But nevertheless, not what I want, but what you want. Which is the opposite of what Adam and Eve said in the garden. They said to God, not what you want, we want what we want now. Jesus said in the garden, not what I want, what God the Father wants, and what is good for the people that Jesus loves. That's what he chose. And that's what we just celebrated on Good Friday, that Jesus came and he chose the path of sacrifice and death, took our sin, took our place, took our sadness, took death itself on himself, was weighed down by all that pressure and burden. And that's not the end of the story. You know what's coming next. It is, after all, Easter Sunday, and we'll talk about that third garden in just a minute. Let's head back to the garden and go back on the hunt for some Easter eggs together, though. All right, head to the construction site. That's 10 seconds. Did you find all 7 eggs? You had that one hanging out on that red truck. That one's a little tricky. And the cone. All right, next one. All right, time's up. 13 eggs. Got those ones on the drapes. A lot of little tricky places there. Getting better at this? I hope so. All right, moving on. Time is up. 12 eggs scattered about the city. All right, we got 2 more of these. Statue of Liberty. And done. 13 eggs. Look at that one on that airplane up there. Did you find that one? We're just getting to visit all over the place. Where are we going to go next? Last stop. Oh, this is psychedelic right here. That's a little crazy, mesmerizing. Can you do it? And done. How many eggs? 20 eggs. I would be quite surprised if you found all of those. That one's a little trippy. So, all right. Back to the Easter story. Back to our 3rd garden visit that we're going to make today. They buried Jesus in a tomb. He had to borrow it from somebody else after he died. They laid him in the grave. They rolled a stone in front of it. Roman soldiers guarded that tomb because they thought somebody was going to come and steal away his body. And there, the body of Jesus stayed for 3 days. But then early Easter Sunday morning, there was a bright light that came from the tomb. An angel had rolled away the storm, and Jesus' body was no longer dead. There was new life and new blood pumping through his veins, and he was glorious, and he stepped out of that grave made new, and he lives and he reigns. But there was one person who came and saw him first. There was a group of women who came by the tomb that day. They were going to go help bring spices. That was part of what they did to a body and caring for it after somebody had died and passed away. They realized on their way, how are we even going to roll away that big stone in front of the tomb? What's going to happen there? But when they got there, it was gone. And they were confused. But there were angels there saying, why are you looking for somebody who's alive in a cemetery? In a tomb? He's not here. He's risen. He told you he would live. And they went away confused. But one of them, named Mary, she came across somebody who was standing there. And she thought he was the gardener. Because Jesus' tomb was in a garden. And she starts talking with this man. And she says, we don't know what to do. Did you see what happened over there with that tomb? Do you know if somebody take away the body of Jesus, our teacher, our Lord? And then in that moment, the man turns to her and says one word, Mary. And then she recognizes she is face to face with Jesus, back from the dead, alive. And she says, my Lord, my God, you are here. She cannot believe it. Right there, in the middle of a cemetery, inside of a garden, Jesus started to make the whole world new. That's what Easter is all about. It's about new life, Not just the little peep chickens and, cute little pastel colors and all the other new life stuff that we like to celebrate. Springtime, yay. It's so much more important than that. It's that all the sad things and the bad things and the wrong things and death itself that are in this world, they're going away forever one day because of what Jesus did. When the whole world will once again become a garden where good things grow and every tear is no more. And the glory of the risen Jesus Christ shines like the sun, and we can be with him forever. That's what Easter is all about. As we trust in him, we know he's making all things new. All right, kids, celebrate that today. Don't eat too much candy. I know I'm saying that, but you're going to do it anyway. Have fun with that. See you next Sunday.